Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and boy, do we have a great show for you today. This is the show where we speak life into the moments that matter. And I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. And today we're diving into a conversation that blends creativity, purpose, and passion through the power of film. My guest today is a visionary storyteller who uses his camera not just to entertain, but to enlighten. He's the founder and driving force behind Tylerman Films, a production company built on purpose and powered by impact. His films are more than just stories, they're statements. So please join me as we explore what it truly means to use vision to speak life with filmmaker, creator, and change agent Andrew Tyler. Right after this, this is Born to Speak to You TV.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and with me today is my guest from the CEO and founder of Tylerman Films. Please welcome Andrew Tyler. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Man, what's up? I was jamming to the intro. I like that, man. I forgot you was out of New York City. That's right.
Right, born and bred in Brooklyn.
Yeah, man. I was sitting there, Bob. I was like, okay, this is nice. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yes, indeed. And if it seems to the viewers that Andrew and I are too friendly, we didn't just meet. I've known Andrew well over 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
We used to be church mates, and we've worked on some theatrical pieces inside of the church and the drama ministry. And I got to know him, his lovely wife, and his beautiful daughter. So, Andrew, thank you for being on Born to Speak to You TV. And today we're shining a light on the incredible power of storytelling, the kind that just entertain but transforms. The kind that makes us think, makes you feel, makes you see the world just a little bit different. Because I believe that film isn't just moving pictures, it's emotion in motion. Okay. So today, as I said, my guest embodies that truth. He's a visionary filmmaker, the creative force behind Tylerman Films. And Andrew, we're just going to jump right into it with both feet in the deep end, like we like to do.
I'm ready. I am ready.
Andrew, your company, Tylerman Films, has a unique voice in storytelling. How would you describe the vision that drives your work?
So, you know what? We can't curse on the show, right? We don't cuss on this show. We just say what we want. I just want to make sure.
This is children friendly.
Friendly. Yes, it is. I got tired of others telling our stories. That was the basis. So in 2017, I went back to school, and I went to Tribeca Flashpoint downtown Chicago, and they accepted me into their film program. And I always wanted to make a difference in film. But in 2017, I kept seeing all these storylines, and I knew that the writer's room could not be filled with African Americans. And when I looked it up, less than 0.5% of Hollywood is made up of Black people, and almost half of that is made up of the writer's room. So we're not telling our own stories. We're involved. We're actively on screen, but we're not necessarily telling our own stories. And I kind of got tired of that, man. I want to start telling our own stories, and be it the true, raw, authentic stories that Black people can actually tell, not some watered down version of Soul. And for me, that was so important. So I decided to go back to school, form the company, and I'll never forget the president of the school telling me I needed to go and be an intern at one of the TV houses. And I said, no, I'm going to own the company. And she said, you can't come out of school owning a company. I said, the hell if I can't. So I formed my company while I was in school. And it was the latter part of the associate's degree. And I took it to her. And I said, here's my company. Not necessarily slap in the face, but you got a different kind of dude. And
Right.
So from there, she started she wasn't necessarily happy for me. It was one of those moments where he's trying to defy our system. Well, your system doesn't work for us. It doesn't even explain to you who we really are. People got mad at Will Packer because he formed his company and they call him the Black Company. He's not a Black company. He's telling stories that are American stories. They just so happen to have Black people in them, and you upset. So, or whoever the guy, the powers that be and the gatekeepers that may be. So Tylerman Films is a digital media and film company that allows for people to express themselves, tell their stories, and tell their stories now, not tell it 20, 30 years from now. And I'm talking about the elders. I was just with Miss Lynette Turner on the Underground Railroad tour. We told her story and how they were doing their stuff. She is the last living person to interview one of Harriet Tubman's living family members. So stuff like that, man.
All right. So you've been doing this for how long now?
Since 2017. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So would you say, and how has your vision, because you've been doing it for a minute now, how has
Yes.
your vision changed from when you first started?
So this is going to sound bad, but I believe people should be compensated for what they do. And when I initially started, everything was free. Here you go, take this, see my stuff, see what I can do. And the skill set didn't necessarily matter to me, and I was kind of giving it away for free. From a monetary perspective, film doesn't necessarily pay unless you make it pay for you. I think that's how the vision has somewhat been slighted just a little. And also the authenticness of what I'm allowed to do, the purpose. So freedom of speech, for example, what we're doing right now, Calvin, and saying what you really want to say. Who's receptive? How many of these distribution platforms are willing to take true stories without, and this is not to knock our government, but we have a man in the office that's saying shut down all of the Black people stuff so they don't feel bad. Shut it down. Take all the monuments down. Kill all the Black statues. Don't tell, instead of calling it slavery, they're calling it migrant. Instead of calling them slaves, they're calling them migrants now. It's just little tweaks that would destroy our storyline and get rid of what we actually went through as a people. So those are the things that I'm dealing with right now, because platforms don't necessarily want truth. And when you're speaking truth to power, you have to find somebody that's willing to be in your corner. And normally the people that control these platforms are older, rich white men that have access, and they don't necessarily want to have you in the door. So that's my biggest struggle, if I had to say.
All right. So when you decide to create a film,
yes,
how do you decide what message or life or truth do you want your audience to walk away with? How do you make that decision?
I just went through this because we had a talk about who is this film for? Is it for Black people or white people? And my documentary that I have, it's an American documentary. It's a documentary about laws. And the pivot is that a young Black man was killed. Nonetheless, when you're dealing with the mindset of a young Black man being killed, they often refer to that as a Black story, but it's not a Black story. This is an American story. So whom is my target audience, and how do I get to the other side without them feeling bad about themselves? So I have to make sure that I use language, and this is something that, Calvin, this is something that's deep, because I have to filter my Black mindset, which is crazy. I have to filter my Black mindset in order to appease certain people so that they'll pick it up and say, oh, I'm willing, I'll give this a shot. I'll watch this. I'll pay $3.99 to watch this film. That is crazy.
And you have to do it whether they're Black or not Black.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh, especially yes, and that filters over into Hispanic communities and everything else, because or politics for that matter. You know, with the We Live Here video that I did, Walt and I, we kind of got into an argument about the video being political, because Chicago is a political city. So if I'm showing We Live Here in Chicago, you have to show what's going on in the city, be it Harold Washington. How do you not show President Obama if you live in Chicago? How do you not show the First Lady or their family or whatever? They're rooted, deeply rooted into the Chicagoland area. But if he wants to do a, let's just say, for example, if Walt wants to apply for a grant, and then that grant is down in, I don't know, it could be in Utah or Arizona, wherever it's at, or one of the southern states. If they see Obama on the screen, they may not even give to his organization. So it's really interesting when it comes to us always having to filter. And I hate that about film, man. We shouldn't have to filter anything. It should be open. But people do have a right to deny you.
But you know what? As a presenter, as a presenter of the truth,
yes,
you always have to consider, I think, who your audience is. Who are you making this film for? If you want it to be for everybody, then you have to decide who exactly is it going to be for, because it can't be for everybody. Everybody's not going to like it. Okay, that's just the way it goes, right? You know that, I know that. Same thing when you're speaking the truth from the stage. Everybody's not going to like what you have to say. Okay, you have something to give, and you have to know your audience too. Otherwise, they're gonna start throwing tomatoes at you.
I never forget when 12 Years a Slave came out, and Snoop Dogg got upset and he said, "Why are we still showing slave movies?"
Right.
And I thought about that. We have a new generation that doesn't necessarily care about what our elders went through, and I find that to be problematic. And Snoop not a part of no new generation. Snoop born in the 60s, 70s. So when you think about the ideology, he's living in California. He done made it to a certain level, a monetary level, but the struggle of our people is real, and it's hereditary. It flows down, it trickles down. And my family is a family of sharecroppers. So I'm the second person in my family to go to college. What is that to be said about equity, access, diversity, equity, include, whatever you want to call it? So for Snoop, he'd have made his billions, he got his millions, he's on tour. So for you to say, well, not another slave movie, I think that's wrong. And the reason I say it's wrong, and it's not me knocking Snoop, but I challenge that mentality, because our youth need to know what we went through. Why do you live in the projects right now? It's because you didn't necessarily have opportunity. Even with your education, your zip code may define you. We have, again, I go back to our president. Our president was found, he and his dad were found guilty of redlining. It's in the New York Supreme Court that they wouldn't rent to Black, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican. I mean, it's certain white folk they just wouldn't rent to. So they were found guilty of redlining and coding and not and being racist towards Black folk. This is in the government laws. So what do you do when you want to tell our truth? Why do we always have to filter it? And now, Jewish people tell their story. Why can't we tell ours? They don't say get rid of the Holocaust, but forget about slavery and don't worry about the 400 years y'all suffered. So I have a problem with that.
Oftentimes, I think, and let me ask you if you agree with this. Oftentimes, the point you want to make has so many facets to it that you can't give it to them all at one time.
Tell me more.
You got to, you got. It's just like force feeding somebody that doesn't want to eat. Okay, you have this meal there, but you know you can't give them all the potatoes or the steak or the veggies all at one time. So you give them a little bit here, come back later, give them a little bit more and a little bit more until that body of work, looking at it as a whole, is your message. You know, that's just a way, a creative way, I think, of feeding the audiences what we want to tell them. And because you've put out your message in sections, you give people a chance to digest it. The first part, you know, the ones that's going to say from the beginning, this is totally wrong, I don't agree with it. When you try to force feed them, but you give them a little bit here, a little bit there, and the third part, and somewhere along the line, you might see a transformation in that person. And by the time the third part come around, they're waiting for it. They want to see. They want to see what it is. You have thus transformed a life, a way of thinking, and who knows how many people is going to be transformed by what you're doing. Which leaves me into my next question for you about your creative process. When you help, when you speak life through the stories you tell, do you have, or what is your creative process?
So I produce, write, direct, edit. As the editor, I normally, if there was one space that I would hold in film, is editing, because the editor creates the star. A lot of people don't know that. Everybody want to be directors, but you can direct all you want. The editor chooses what the director is doing. Even though the director is getting all this footage and all this stuff for the editor can make or break your film, be it sound or whatever it is. So I try to do a reverse role. I know people say fix it in post and let the editor do it. What I do is I'll sit down with a project manager or whomever is the executive director, and I'll say, what do you want? What are we asking for? What do you want this film? What is your final ultimate thing that you want people to know about this film? And then I shape it around that. I may write the screenplay. I may do the script. I may sit with them and go through the hero's journey. I teach a class called the hero's journey. And in that journey, we go through either 12 or 17 monologues. It might be the hero entering the atmosphere, or what is the elixir? What did he come back with? What did he learn? The innermost cave. He goes into this traumatic experience. Your hero, and the hero could be a villain. Sometimes your hero is a gangster in a movie, or it might be a player movie, or whatever it is. So whoever your hero is, what is he trying to portray, and how do we allow for people to like, love, or hate this, and particularly hate? In Django, I think the Oscar should have went to Samuel L. Jackson. I believed him. I was upset with Sam in that movie. So so I hated him. He made me hate him. And it's hard to do. So when you sit back and you look at this one individual versus the so-called star of the movie, which was Jamie Foxx, how do you get those two to peak and come out together and blossom and bloom? And I think Sam Jackson actually stole the role. So I hope I'm answering the question. I'm not sure if I'm answering it or not. but I think my creative process deals with the mindset of sitting and listening and journeying with the person. And if I'm off, and also I bring them on set as a consultant. I actually most people don't want their executive producers on set. I do, because I don't need no retakes. I don't want to have to do it over again. Come on, let's go, work with me. And I have them on set, and they'll say, no, that's not what I really wanted. So I prefer to do it that way.
Okay. So real quick, can you share a moment on set or behind the scenes when you realized that your film had truly touched someone's life?
Uh, I
Come
I
on, I
did a
see
pre
those wheels turning. I see those
I did a
wheels turning. Come
well,
on.
I did a pre-screening of No Knock No Charge, the Amir Locke Story,
Mm-hmm.
and when it came, I was the black sheep of the family while creating this film, and I'm talking about uh, nobody liked me, including my wife. She didn't necessarily like me.
Well,
um,
well, well. Let's stop for a second and give some background. Amir Locke
yes,
was a relative of yours,
yeah. So Amir Locke, he was my nephew.
right?
He was 22 years old, and on 2/2/22, he was executed by a Minneapolis SWAT team that was signed on by the St. Paul Police Department.
Right.
And what occurred, just real quick, what occurred was he was asleep on the couch. He was licensed to carry a firearm. He was visiting a family member, and he was asleep on the family member's couch. The police come in with a no-knock warrant. They kick the couch that he's on. They kick it twice actually, and wake him up. He reaches for his firearm because I don't know what he was thinking. He probably thought he was getting jumped or whatever. Somebody trying to hurt him. And before he could fully comply, he was shot 5 times. So I took the footage and I turned it into a documentary. I took all 56 body cams, turned it into a documentary, and in that documentary space, I call it our modern day Emmett Till moment, similar to what Jet Magazine did and how they opened up the pages and showed Emmett Till in the casket. I use footage and I show Amir being killed or executed, if you will. That's the language his mother likes to use.
So the family. I think the term you used was considered you the black sheep of the family because you wanted to do it.
Yeah, I had a lot of pushback because his mother and father approved of it, and cousins and relatives and
Mm-hmm.
even with my wife, they were like, "Don't show this, don't show that." Um, so this will be a lesson in ownership. When you own something, you do what you want. I when they told me I could do it, I copywrote it. I decided to shoot it, and I'm not beholden to anyone, so I own the film. My wife is executive producer, so she has final say. If I die, she take over. But right now, it's hard for a woman to accept the word no, and sometimes no is a complete sentence. So she might say, "Well, I need you to do this," and I'd be like, "No." And well, it's our film. Well, still no, I own the film. And that could be real tension in a household, you know, because business and husband and wife sometimes don't separate. So it's like, well, from a business perspective, I have a right to do this. And now and then I want to push over to what you were asking me. The hardest thing about this film is showing his death, but also showing the bloodiness and the after effects and how they treat black bodies from the moment they touch base with you all the way through the hospital where the hospital pronounces you dead on the scene. So I show the entire I show that entire thing, and not everybody was in agreement with that. Um, in fact, his mother gave me the go ahead, and once I heard that, I said, I'm not. I only talk to his mother and father about what should or should not be. Everything else, I don't care about what nobody else say, and that's sad to
Okay.
say, but that had to include my wife because everybody has an opinion. Calvin, one of my mentors taught me. He said, never allow someone to write on your canvas. He said, after you've done all the heavy lifting, all of the hard work, um, you've done everything involved, and then somebody come along after you and put all your money, your resources, your time, your talent, and they want to take their paintbrush and draw on it. Now that you've done all of the heavy lifting. And he said, what kind of fool is you to allow someone to take their paintbrush and draw on your canvas after you've done all of the work? So so I take
Well,
that and I tuck that in my heart.
well, that definitely makes sense, and that's definitely a perspective to take as well. But we're going to take a break right here. We'll be right back. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and we'll be back in 60 seconds with this great conversation. This is Calvin Gibbs, and this is the segment we like to call Born to Rise. I'd rather have an enemy who admits they hate me instead of a friend who secretly puts me down. Yes, I would rather have somebody that says, Calvin, I do not like you, because I know where that person's coming from. They're being honest. They're being truthful. I know which category to put them in. But when you have a friend who secretly puts you down behind your back, say they got your back when they're talking to you, facing you, and then secretly behind your back, they're talking about you, they're laughing at you, they're hoping you don't be successful. Now, give me the enemy. Give me the enemy any day that admits that they hate my guts instead of a friend, or what I perceive to be a friend, who secretly puts me down. That's your tip for today. This is Born to Rise, and I'm Calvin Gibbs. This is Born to Speak to You TV.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is
Born. That thing is banging, man.
This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. And today we're talking to Andrew Tyler of Tylerman Films. And we're talking about the just the process of getting a film done from the thought to the creative process. We talked about some of his work that some of his family members didn't even like, and he was put in the spot of, do I do this the way I want to do it, or do I not do it? And he decided to push forward. So I want to talk about the next question for you, Andrew, is about impact and representation. What do you think about the next generation of filmmakers? What do you think they need to understand about responsibility and purpose in storytelling?
You know what? It carries over into what I was saying before. You need to have final say. I don't want people to run around thinking I'm some kind of a like I can't be talked to, or can't anybody say nothing to me, or that's not what I was getting at. Final say allows for you to have ownership. It allows for you to have your masters. It allows for you to do what you need to do in order to get the story out and get it told. I think ownership is key. I believe distribution, before you make your film, you need to understand who you're distributing to. In my film, it's a little bit different, because I'm trying to distribute a message to America to let them know that laws need to be changed, right? So that's an everybody problem. But if you have a drama that deals with love, or you have a rom-com, some kind of comedy or whatever the case, it's like what you were saying earlier, knowing your audience. So who is the film purposed for? If it's a Civil War movie, I think we're heading in a direction of Civil War with what we're going through with the ICE agents and all that kind of stuff. So if you have a movie about a Civil War, whom is your target audience? Probably not going to be folk in the South. They may or may not listen to your message, but they support the Confederacy, so they believe that we shouldn't have been free in the first. So the purpose and the creation behind what I do is really movie messaging, if you will. Are you trying to change hearts, minds, legislation, and does it end up monetarily uplifting our people? If my daughter doesn't walk out of a film with cause or purpose in her psyche, what is the point? So did it change her? Does it change you when you leave? oftentimes that's the problem I have with church. You know, many of our pastors are saying the same message over and over. He died on the cross. Okay, I'm saved. Did it change me? Did it change my behavior? Did I move in a different direction? And I think that's what I'll call it movie messaging. I think that's what it's supposed to do. I really do.
Okay. And that is a great segue into a video. We're going to show a few minutes of this video clip. This is something that you shot for Walt Whitman and the Soul Children of Chicago. This is called We Live Here.
That's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has to repent.
Let me say this real quick to all of my viewers in Chicago.
And started yelling at them.
No matter where life takes you, there's one place that brings you back. Chicago. Soul Children. Let's go.
Chicagoland is more than a kind of town. It's the soul, it's the spirit, it's a windy city sound. It's in the rhythm of the trains on the L tracks. It's in the rhythms of the guitars playing blues and jazz. It's a feeling from the lakefront, north to south, through the neighborhoods and suburbs all around. And the feelings are wrong. This is home. Oh, we live here. It's where we grow. It's where we work. It's where we play. And nobody knows this place like we do. It's where we live. We live know the history and traditions here. Like my people still talk about the 85 years. We chill the bulls and the Stanley Cup Black Hawks. The Cubs are north and the south side got the south. And we know to celebrate on Pulaski Day. And the Bud again is a big parade. And the reason we know this is home. Oh, we live here. It's where we grow. It's where we work and where we play. And nobody knows this place like we do. It's where we live. We live Bringing up its shoulders now, so bring it on.
Bring it on, and for us to Second City.
It's second to none.
From the top of Witness Tower.
Till we go up like we try.
Nothing like this city. There's nothing like our pride.
All right. Wow, that was something else. Thank you for sharing that with us, Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
We are here. That was, again, Dr. Walt Whitman and the Soul Children of Chicago. This song is called We Live Here, and it's highlighting Chicago. What I loved about this piece, Andrew, is that it showed the political side of Chicago, which you talked about earlier. It showed community. It showed spiritualism. And I saw some sports in there too. Love my Bears. You know, so that was a very, very powerful piece. I want to thank you for sharing that with us. And before we go into the last video that you are going to share with us, what legacy? Think about your legacy. Everybody should think about legacy, right? What legacy do you hope that Tylerman Films will leave behind in the world of cinema and community impact?
Really, it was about inspiration and challenging the moment. You know, I made that video because Pastor Geno Jenkins got on TV and he prophesied over Chicago, and he was talking about how Trump is going to send in National Guard and troops and all this stuff, and people wanting to defend themselves, if you will. And you know, and there were little young gangbangers that had got online and talk about what they was going to do if the ICE come in their neighborhoods and how they was going to shoot and all this stuff. And he was forewarning them, and he was saying, you know, everything that they see on TV in different places is showing that Chicago is just this hellhole of murder and chaos and all this corruption. So I start off the video and I show like Al Capone, and I show Blagojevich and how he had went to prison. You know, I show all of our faces, you know, some of the negatives in Chicago, but then I highlight the city and the inspiration and the love that we have, and what we've accomplished, if you will. And we live here, so we know what it's like. You an outsider. Now I know you get the highlights and the news clips, and that's what they show you about Inglewood. But Inglewood and Ravenswood are still a part of the 77 neighborhoods that make up Chicago. And I want my legacy to be about storytelling, truth, and inspiration. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Here's what it really is. And don't get me wrong, you still got folk that kill and shoot, but numbers are skewed. You kill who you know. They killing in Lincoln Park, we're in the richest neighborhoods, and they killing in K-Town. So Chicago has 8 million people. Somebody bound to get killed. I don't know who, but it's 8 million people strong. So there is crime, there is poverty, but that's a whole nother conversation about lack thereof. But I want to make sure that my legacy involves a matter of storytelling that can be brought to life and challenge the status quo and those that are in power enough to say, well, here's what y'all should be doing. And this is not a knock against Pastor Geno Jenkins. I love him. I watch him. But I think that he was prophetically inaccurate. I mean, he was right about don't be going out in the streets trying to fight against the military because they'll kill you. But what he was wrong about was the culture of Chicago and how we really have a beautiful city. We do. We have a great city, man. It's awesome. Even in the hood, there's some nice spots. We have community gardens. We have food deserts, but there are people growing vegetables in the neighborhood. So to try to make that go away, but they don't talk about that. That's not what you see on TV. And those are the types of stories that I want to highlight.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Andrew, for being our special guest today. How can viewers support or become a part of Tylerman Films, your movement, to help speak life through film?
You know what? I'm reading this thing upside down, so forgive me if my eyeballs are off the screen. I just formed my nonprofit organization. It's called Tylerman Film and Media Arts Education Center. And the goal of that, if you will, is to teach the skill set of film to anybody that wants to learn. And I'm talking about kids as young as 5, 6, 7 years old. As long as they could type and read, they can be involved. We're looking for donations for that. I need computers, laptops, all that good stuff. But overall, they can reach out to tylermanfilms.com. You can reach me at tylermanfilms@gmail.com. And if you have a story or an idea that you want to bring to life, I'm here for it. Also, I think this is important because people don't talk about it. Homegoing ceremonies. If you have a montage of photos and videos of your elders and they're going on to glory, what I do is I create montages and I try to help. If you have a funeral service, I'll show those things that your family member left behind, and I think that's important because legacy, like you had mentioned, legacy earlier. Legacy screenings are starting to become a big thing now,
right?
And because we're losing our elders, man, we really are. And it's unfortunate that their stories are not being heard. So if you have an elder and you want their story on screen, put it on screen now. Don't wait. Don't think twice about it. Just do it. Yeah, man. So
and people can also contact you through your phone number.
Oh yeah, 651. Yes, 651-756-0184. That's directly to me. Just call me. It don't matter. I'm normally up till midnight anyway. But I sometimes 1 a.m. editing. But 651-756-0184 as well.
All right. Thank you again, Andrew.
Kevin, I want to say thank you for being on this show, man. This is awesome. I like this, man. This is good.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. And please, when the time comes, please come back again and share with the audience as well.
Absolutely.
We're going to leave you with Andrew is also going to show, sharing some film from No Knock, No Charge, the Amir Locke story that he filmed. And after that, we'll be right back with Born to Speak to You TV.
We are dead serious about seeing the necessary changes through. And the necessary changes start with being honest and transparent. That begins with all of you here today and releasing body camera footage in the immediacy so that people can see exactly what is in it, good, bad, or ugly. But it doesn't stop there.
No Knock warrants was not designed to protect the lives of officers or community. It was designed to preserve evidence in the war on drugs.
I have blood on my hands.
Yesterday, you ran with the piece that he had a loaded gun. That does not justify Amir Locke being killed in cold blood by the SWAT team, by the MPD, being signed off by the St. Paul Police Department.
It didn't matter that Amir's name wasn't on the warrant, because we don't have a right to a name in the eyes of some in this country.
We would not be able to prove in court that Officer Henneman's use of force was not authorized under the law beyond a reasonable doubt.
This is what I would call the anatomy of a cover-up.
The way that they made it sound was like our son was behind the door and ambushed them.
When it comes to these no-knock warrants, it's one of the reasons why we advocated a package of reforms in conjunction with public safety measures. But this young man had nothing to do with the warrant.
Be prepared for this family, because every time you take a step, we're going to be right behind you. This is not over.
Lieutenant said this is the first no-knock warrant in St. Paul's executed this year. Is that true? They fought us. They would not let us do no-knock.
St. Paul was super wrong.
PG.
They made us do this.
Are you going to press charges once we show you that there's more evidence in the Amir Locke case?
Amir got a name. Amir has a name. His name wasn't on your warrant, but his name's gonna be in your law book.
Wow, that was powerful. That was footage from the No Knock, No Change film by Tylerman Films, the Amir Locke Story. Welcome back to Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and man, we're talking about the speaking life through film, the power of story on film, where vision speaks life. Stories shape our world. It's not just the stories we tell, but the stories we show. In every frame, every line of dialogue, film has the power to do one of two things: either to divide or to connect. Either divide us or connect us. Also, when underprivileged groups are behind or in front of the camera, that film becomes a bridge. It connects the struggle to the eyes and the hearts of the world, but only when the elite tell the stories do we get distortion. Only when the elite tell the stories do we seem to get distortion. We see polished success, but not the pain that built it. We see privilege, but without the price that was paid for that privilege. And that's why representation matters, because stories told from the top look down, but stories told from the heart lift others up. Every good screenplay teaches the difference between right and wrong, not by teaching, but by showing. When a writer builds a world where justice prevails, they remind us that integrity still matters. So you see, film doesn't just entertain, it educates. It invites us to choose who we will be when the credits roll. Who will we be? Will we be enlightened? Will we change our mindset? Will we take the knowledge that we just seen on the screen that we can now digest and use it to better our situation or our community, our family's situation? Who will we be when the credits roll? I want you to think about that for a second as we take a break. This is Born to Speak to You, and here's another Born to Rise tip. Hi, this is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV. Here is your Born to Rise tip. Never quit. If you stumble, just get back up. What happened yesterday no longer matters because today is another day. So get back on track and move closer to your dreams and your goals. You can do this. You got this, but you cannot quit. When you quit, things fall through the cracks. Sometimes it's hard to get going again. So if you stumble, and we all do, just get back up. What happens yesterday, let it stay where it is in the past. It doesn't matter. Today is another day. And get back on track. Move closer to your dreams and your goals because you can do it.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. And today we've been talking with Andrew Tyler of Tylerman Films. Yes, where vision speaks life. I want to share a little bit with you about empathy and tyranny, the battle that often goes on screen and in society. Those are two forces that's always fighting for control of the screen and for control of our soul. That's empathy and tyranny. When empathy wins, we see each other. When empathy wins, we can see each other, we can understand, we can get insight. But when tyranny wins, we silence each other. And I must say that it seems right now we live in a world that wants us to be silent. Remember, when tyranny wins, we silence each other. A powerful film shows us what happens when one voice is muted, and how the world can change when that voice is heard. The most dangerous story there is not the one that's false. It's the one that is never, ever told. So for those creatives out there, those filmmakers out there, those people that are going to be mentored by Andrew Tyler and Tylerman's Films, I want you to keep that in mind as you go into the world and you tell your story. Remember, the most dangerous story is not the one that's false. It's the one that's not told. And I want to thank Andrew Tyler again for being our guest, because he showed us that film can do more than just entertain. It can educate, it can empower, and most importantly, film can speak life into the moments that matter. Every frame, every story, every voice that is brought to the screen becomes a spark that lights up somebody else's purpose. And to our viewers, well, today's episode, I hope that it inspired you to start creating, to start telling your story, to start looking at the world through a lens of possibility. Remember this, your vision matters, your voice matters. And when you choose to use your voice with intention, you can truly speak life into the moments that matters. And if you were inspired by today's episode, be sure to follow Born to Speak to You on DFN Broadcast Studios. You can also find us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. And share this conversation with somebody that needs a little light in their life, a little hope in their life, and a reminder that their story still has power. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and until next time, keep using your voice, keep using your vision, and keep using your purpose to create moments that make a difference. Because here on Born to Speak to You, we don't just tell stories. We speak life into the moments that matter. We'll see you at the next episode.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to speak to you. He's got that rhythm in his truth, that fire in his flow, speaking life into the moment, watch it grow. Every phrase, every beat, a breakthrough cue. Yeah, he was born to speak to you.